Welcome, Night Owls, to the Book Club After Dark podcast, an inviting moonlit podcast. I'm your host, Danny.
And I'm Michelle. We review fantasy, romantasy, dark romance, and thriller novels.
All things enchanting, intriguing, suspenseful, and maybe a little spicy.
Each episode features intimate discussions on captivating stories, fan theories, and more. And this is your content warning. This podcast contains mature themes and discussions that may not be suitable for all audiences. Episodes include explicit language and descriptions of mature romance, as well as depictions of violence and other intense subject matter. This podcast is rated R for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
And going forward from here, we're going to have spoilers for probably the whole ACOTAR series, like the whole series, but we're going to try to keep it to A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Thorns and Roses, because that's what we're into now. We're finally here, Michelle. We're doing it. So
we are.
Get started. Consider this your spoiler warning.
So let's get cozy, because the best stories are told after dark.
All right. So we had a lot of options for this book. And so we did like a classic strawberry daiquiri for A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I had to do something right here. I don't know if you can really see the sparkles of the stars. I'm going to give a little stir here. So for those listening, it's like a dark blue color, and I added edible silver glitter, so it looks like the night sky, and it's called The Stars Who Listen, because, of course, the most highlighted quote in this book, with 40,000, no exaggeration, 40,000 plus Kindle highlights, is when Rhys answers to Feyre, and they're talking about to the people who look at the stars and wish, Rhys, to the stars who listen, and the dreams that are answered. And of course, they're talking about Velaris. They're talking about lots of things in this quote, but it's definitely one of the most popular ACOTAR quotes as a whole. They're in the night court now. We're finally in the night court in this book, and it's exciting. And I had to do a drink that was a nod to the most highlighted, thing, and to Velaris, of course, because everybody we all want to go there. There's so many created on. I want to walk into Velaris one day through like a portal in the woods. Where's my, growing up, where's my ticket to Velaris? Like, how are we getting there? What's going on? If a warrior, all of that good stuff. So that was a perfect nod to that. And to make this, you're probably wondering, how do I get this like rich blue color? How do I get this drink? So you can use your base of liquor. Any white liquor will work. I used white spiced rum because it went well. I put lime juice, spiced rum. There's a little bit of Sprite in here. I used a Sprite Zero I had. You're going to have to help me with this because I always get this pronunciation wrong, but it's
Curacao.
Curacao. Thank you.
Yes.
Blue Curacao for that darker blue. And then I had a homemade blueberry simple syrup, which is really easy to use. You can use fresh blueberries. You can use frozen blueberries. Doesn't really matter. The intent here is you mix a little water with it, a good amount of sugar, get your blueberries heated so that they can blend pretty well. And then you let that cool down, and you've got yourself a blueberry simple syrup. You add that all in, mixed together, and that will create your Stars Who Listen. So back from the top, white rum, lime juice, blue Curacao, Sprite, and your edible silver glitter. And that's it. I'll mix it up. Ice
and
it.
the blueberry simple syrup.
Oh, yeah. And blueberry simple syrup.
Yeah.
There you go.
That sounds delicious.
Very good. Highly recommend. I think they would drink this at Rita's because it embodies.
Absolutely.
It's night court. You got the stars everywhere. This is where the city looks the most beautiful at night. I would feel like most of the bars would have some kind of drink that's a nod to the night court itself and stars and something. So I could just totally see Moore sipping on this, or Cassian. I know Moore loves her wine, but I could totally see her having a good drink, enjoying this cocktail at Rita's, because in this book too, we get several trips to Rita's with dancing and some good times. So there you go. There's your drink of the episode.
And that quote's from the Starfall, right? Starfall, that time. And that is just such an iconic time for Feyre, and really understanding like the beauty of Velaris, because it's continually shown as like this nightmare court, but that's not Velaris at all. It's full of dreamers, and the quote is beautiful. I love how the drink really embodies like how the sky would look as the souls are passing through.
Yes,
which is kind of
And so that part, though, and we can talk about this more when we get into the book story, but like, I wonder how much of that ties to Tog, to Throne of Glass, or to Crescent City, and how maybe Rhysand understands the soul piece like a little bit more with magic and all of that, because we know that there's like a hand that's grabbed at the end of Throne of Glass. We know in Crescent City, the very last book of Crescent City. And again, spoiler warning, we're really doing all the books right now, so I apologize. But there's tie-ins to this whole series, and it's relevant because when we talk about 6 and 7, we need to figure out how that's all going to balance out. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. It's maybe it's souls. We don't know. We think that it's souls moving on, and how we don't really fully, we get a glimpse of it in this book of like how much this world expands. But you're right. This was a really critical moment, and I thought that it made sense to highlight Velaris, and create a fun drink that we haven't done before that kind of embodied all that.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. It sounds delicious. I haven't had rum yet since
oh girl, you'd love this one. I'll have to make one for you.
I bet. I love rum, so
yes, I will make one for you. You're gonna enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right. So we tonight are diving into, of course, A Court of Mist and Fury, ACOMAF, for those who are big fans. We know the acronyms are beloved, by Miss Sarah J Maas, so of course. So whether you're reading along with us or just here for the book talk, we are glad that you're here. Episode is going to go how it typically does. We're going to do a very high level synopsis because we know that there are tons of podcasts out there and analyses and reviews. I mean, just countless things where you can go get tons more information about the series. We wanted to do this at a high level. Our personalities, you get to hear it in a book club style forum. So if you're looking for a high level, in-depth synopsis of each character or something like that, you're not going to find that in this episode. Encourage you to go check out some of the more deep dive podcasters out there that have covered this series in depth. We are going to go over our star ratings, our spice ratings, kind of the thoughts and feelings we had of the book so far as it ties into the series from a reread perspective, because we're getting ready for 6 and 7 as they come out. And we've got to get our rereads in because we had too many books coming out this fall where it's just overwhelming. So we've got our summer reread happening now. So we're going to do our recap, our star rating, our spice rating, our mystery Q&A, and of course, our Down the Rabbit Hole. Mystery Q&A will be at the very end. And we have one other thing. Xando sent us some stuff. So I want to talk about that at the end before we wrap. And that'll be the episode for tonight. So thanks for tuning in. We're really glad that you're here.
Yeah. So let's get into our star ratings. So if you're following along, you can look at our socials and we have our little star ratings chart posted. And for this book, and I feel like, you're probably going to echo my sentiments here, but this whole series is a 5 if you're looking at our elements. But for this book in particular, I mean, we have a really in-depth characters. Our setting is a lot more expansive in this book because you go to the different courts, and when you're in the seasonal courts, it's all described pretty vividly, as well as when you're in like the solar courts, which is like the night court, and then we hop onto the summer court, and then there's descriptions of the other courts as well. So lots of discussion on the setting, so you really feel like you're there. Obviously, very intricate plotline. These characters, there's an emotional connection for sure. I found my hatred more in depth and more connected to the characters as opposed to like my deep love for the characters. But that's an emotional connection. So, and for this one, because it's book 2, and this is why, I know a lot of people like hate getting into series because it's like such a big commitment. But I love a book 2. I love a book 2 because it picks up where you left off. There's no like building up to anything. You're right in the middle of the action. And this book doesn't drag on at all. There's just way too much going on. So definitely 5-star for me. What about you, Danny?
Yeah. And I would echo that. Like when a book 2 is done well, you should have like good pacing. It kind of reminds me of when we reviewed and when we did our thoughts and feelings. We might have to do this when book 4 comes out for but it reminds me of Iron Flame and how we felt about Iron Flame and the pacing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So, and not that was done poorly.
And just very differently.
Yes, very much. Even though we have kind of two characters that are very much the same age, which is interesting.
Yes.
Feyre's 19 here. And
about to turn 20. Turns 20.
About to turn 20. The pacing for the next two books actually goes by pretty quickly. Like there's jumps in time. With, like, traveling and everything. But and then Violet's
the maturity, the frustration of like maturity is still like felt, I feel like, in both.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're practically teenagers. So barely into adulthood. Which, if I remember what I was like when I was 19, I would cringe all the time. Like, girl, what you doing? Why?
Why for? What are we doing? Yeah. But to your point, I agree with you. This is an excellent book too. I think one of the key elements that I really loved is that we really moved on from the trials and all of those elements that we saw in book 1. We're doing something totally different in book 2, but we're doing it well. We're weaving in a lot of different elements. We're expanding our world dramatically. We're not doing it in such a way that an average reader who doesn't read fantasy couldn't pick up on. This is very much a series that you can be a non-fantasy reader, come in and enjoy this series and not feel too overwhelmed. And that can sometimes happen, right? You can jump into a series where a fantasy series has its own languages or it has its own, and you need like a literal key where you're having to like flip back and forth and like flip back and forth to the map because you just can't follow what the heck's going on. And no hate on that. That's beloved as well. This just is not that. So you have a really easier read, a book 2 that goes right into more depth of characters. I would agree with you on the 5 stars. You have your complex characters, your settings fully immersive, especially if you did an immersive read and you did the Audible. The Audible is so good. You get in Velaris and you hear the people walking and you hear like the breeze and you hear like it's just so good. And even with stuff with Tamlin, like the audio for his voice and like really understanding like tonality and what the voice actors did, it's really well done. So if you haven't listened to the graphic audio for this series, I absolutely recommend it. It will fully enhance, especially if you're doing a reread, it will so enhance that experience for you. And you just get like a feel like it's a movie in your mind. And I'm not even exaggerating. Like it totally feels like that. And often, true mom mode, I'm listening with one headphone because I'm like trying to mom at the same time. So I've got like one headphone in. I'm trying to like put my Kindle up there at the same time. I'm like, it's a lot, but I'm still getting the full experience. So I can only imagine if I was like actually just doing the one thing, I might even enjoy it even a little more. Yeah. But yes, I would agree it's a 5-star. I went to 2 seconds for this shirt. We've got a City of Starlight shirt. You can't really see it, but it actually has a quote at the bottom. The most like beloved quote is at the bottom. So this is like the Tangled Castle. On here, and then with the different lanterns, and then it's City of Starlight, and it's from our friends over at the Lost Bros who sent us some shirts back a couple months back, and they sent us some few more, and they're fantastic. They're Orlando, Florida based company, small business. They make all kinds of screen printed tees, and they did not pay us for this recommendation, by the way. They just make good quality stuff, and we love supporting local small businesses. So thank you to the Lost Bros for these awesome shirts. So if you're getting ready for the books and you want something that's well made, I'll tell you right now, this has been washed like over 20 times, if not, and it's still like, look at the color. City of Starlight.
It still looks great.
Yeah,
I love their crossovers. Because that's what they're like kind of known for.
Yeah, that's what they're known for. That's why it's like the Tangled Castle with the lanterns.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they'll do like Disney, and they do a lot of other things too. So they're good. Fantastic. They're really good. I love that. I like, so
anyway, 5 stars.
Audiobook. 5 stars for the shirt, 5 stars for the book. But I want to, because you pointed out like with the audiobook, and we're going to reference the audiobook multiple times because Danny has a thing about like Lucien's eye. And the whirring. So we'll probably bring it up a couple more times in the but Tamlin's voice was so deep. And I was like, I
Yes.
wasn't expecting that, but I guess because he kind of represents like a monster and a beast, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. And so like hearing the voices and how every single character has their own unique voice actor too it just creates a great experience. I was also just because my little one naps more frequently, so it's nap time, so I can actually like zone in and put 2 headphones in and have like my book, my Kindle. So yeah, it's definitely an experience. And I don't think, I mean, if I at a first read, I probably would have given this a 5-star, but I think just doing the immersive read just elevates it a lot more. So
and I will say for all of our Quicksilver girlies, okay, did we love the voice of our Kingfisher? Because if we did, Rysand is the same voice actor. And
like
it's
crazy because it's 2 different voices. Like,
oh yeah, really.
Kingfisher's voice is like so
no, like Kingfisher. He doesn't. But like it's him still. You know what I mean? Like just it kind of like speaks to like the the actors that are just fantastic. And like you can you believe every role that they play. Julie Roberts, perfect example of this for me. I believe everything she does. I'm like, oh yeah, I believe her. She's that in every single thing I see her in. It's just so Aunt Palmy. He's that for me. As like he can literally voice whatever guy in whatever series and be like, yeah, he's him.
Yeah.
So he's just fantastic. He's so good. So talk about immersive, but yeah, tell us about the spice. Like, what do we think?
So spice in this book, we get a little bit more spice just because, I mean, it starts off with spice. I remember when I first read this book, I'm like, oh, this is so spicy. We read a lot of books since then. The spice has definitely been spicier in a lot of other series. So on a first read, I was like, oh, this is like this is spice because it's like the first couple of chapters, she's in bed with Tamlin. And then obviously we get chapter 55 later on. But going back through this, I'm like, oh, this is so mild. And it's wild that this was one of the books that is classified as smut because I can like point out some smut on my shelf. I mean, if you really want something.
Den of Vipers now, okay?
I know.
So
Den of Vipers between 2 kings.
I mean,
there's been a lot, and it just keeps going. So 2 chapters,
and we're here for it. Let me be really clear.
Oh, absolutely, we're here. Absolutely. But going back in a reread, I was like, oh, I thought this was more spicy. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it's just there's tension, but it's not.
Oh God,
I would say like 2.5 peppers based on if you look at our chart because we have a spicy chart too. And occasional on-page spice, mostly off-page because there's like tension and mentions and there's but there's impact to the characters and storyline. So I feel like it's like a 3 pepper, almost a 3 pepper, because 3 peppers is moderate intensity with 1 to 2 chapters of spice, relevant but doesn't drive plot. And it's standard because it's vanilla. We're just
well, and so we're on the table. We're on the table with the paint or whatnot, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more about how I felt about that whole situation. But the thing I wanted to talk about is related to that. So you're saying 2.5, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, about 2.5. Yeah, 2.5, 3, less than 3, a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay,
it's funny that you mentioned like how spice has changed in our terms of like internal rating, right? And I would agree with you. Whenever I first read these, I was like, oh gosh, wow, it's like, it's very spicy. I thought this was really spicy at the time, or, I thought their scenes were spicier because it was like more graphic or whatever, end quote. And now I'm like thinking back and I think about like Fourth Wing or Quicksilver or both of those, and you're like in the room with them. Okay, the lightning's lightninging, and we're like in the room next to the armoire. Okay, like the door's open, we're right there. And that's in Fourth Wing, right? And then in Quicksilver, I mean, we're right down on the ground, right next to them, or wherever they're at. We're right there. We're there, and then we're in their mind with the magic and like we're there. And I feel like these could have been closed door, and it would have still been as effective because so many additional scenes that are quote spicy in this book are closed door. He laid me down under the stars. That's the whole scene. That's it.
Right.
You know, it's like, what did Lorca
I need to
do?
know details. Give me details.
Right? Like, what did Lorca do in Burn of Glass? Yeah. Like, what did Lorca do? Like, literally, like, I mean, she makes a comment about wingspan. She's like, "Oh, I can see that wingspan," and other parts are what they say is like.
Okay, so we have three of the biggest Illyrians, right? What is their starting point? That's what I need to know, because it doesn't.
I'm just saying. Okay, let's stay on top. So I'm agreeing with you. I would agree. It's a 2.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Getting to our rating. Yeah. Bringing it back. We're gonna bring it back.
All right.
Because I think we could spend a great deal of time on this very topic, and I feel like the overarching. Yeah. Well, an overarching theme is that it's nowhere near the level of spice that it gets criticized for. Like, as a dark romance girly, fully fledged now, this is like not even this. What is it? 2-3% of the book, maybe. Which, by the way, that is totally fine. I'm not upset or unupset. That's fine with that. I couldn't care less. But it's just the level of grief that people get over talking about these books and how, quote, spicy they are is just laughable now in a reread. It's just laughable. Like, it's like, have you even dipped a toe in the spicy world? Because I don't think you have.
And the people that are turning their nose up and they're like, "Oh, it's basically porn." It's like,
did you read it?
I'm sorry.
I don't think
you did. Not just did you read it, but like, how sad that we don't want to read about this stuff. I mean, that's a normal part of human life. So,
quite literally,
little escapism.
Like, the reason you're here, just put it out there.
It's fine, and it's just words on a page. Chill out, and you might like something. I will reference you some things if you are finding yourself in a dry spell. So,
Well, and so on that note, right? We've had a couple other podcasters on about this topic, and all of them have talked about how reading these books have improved their relationships. So, I just don't have any room for the hate. Okay, I just don't.
No,
we're adult.
Yeah,
you make adult decisions. We don't need to go.
I'm too busy for it too. Like, why are you gonna live a negative life? That's so sad for you. Read some smut.
Honestly,
you'll be okay.
Which, by the way, this is not that. To be clear.
No, read this and some smut together.
There you go.
It'll be fine
together.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our discussion questions where we talk a little bit more about the plot, characters, and the overall storyline. Because like Danny said earlier, we're not deep diving this at all. This is more of a how do we feel about different aspects of this book. So let's get into first comparison in this reread, because this is a reread journey for us. How did this book compare to ACOTAR in terms of like your reread?
Book one. We touched on this a little bit about how the world really expanded and how personally ACOTAR is like one of my least favorite, actually. And so this is truly one of those series where it's like you just have to get through the first book. Like, for whatever reason, this book does Curd with Thorns and Roses. I didn't love until the end, actually. And then I was like, okay, girl, go,
like the trials
under the mountain. Yeah. That was where, and then even then I was like, oh my gosh, we can't even, poor Lucian's like going through it here because we can't, and then, we can't get through it. Like what, yeah, there's a lot happening. And then finally, we start this next book, and the way that it opens with Tamlin, and we really start to understand Ianthe and what's going on with all of that, and how it moves quicker. There's a lot faster pacing, I feel like, in book 2 than there was in book 1. There was a lot of really early and understood why, right? But I really enjoyed book 2 a lot more. I knew that I would. I always have, so I wasn't surprised by that. But this is truly, everybody kind of says oh, in fantasy books you have to get through. At some point, there's a book you have to get through. And I feel like for me in this series in particular, it's the first book. Other series, I think that would be different. I think for Fourth Ring, it's a different book than book 1 for me that you have to get through. That makes sense. Usually book 3 or a mid book, but for me in this case it's book 1. I always struggle with book 1 in this series for some reason. I think it's because it ties so much to Beauty and the Beast elements, and it seems like something I've read before, but done differently. And then I think book 2 is just on its own. It just breaks out and it becomes something totally different and new and refreshing. And I think that's where I really start to love this series is in book 2, and where she becomes just a much more complex character. Her decisions become more challenging. Her world expands rapidly, and we get to see so much more outside characters that are truly impactful, especially at the end of this book. It's just like the world culminates with, you finally find out what like Blessed by the Cauldron is all about and all that. So, yeah.
Right.
What about you?
I think you make a solid point about like romantasy and getting through like book 1. And I think a lot of romantasy is heavily reliant on tropes, right? We have the emaciated teenager who is too weak to do anything, yet she's the chosen one who has to save an entire race of people. And there are trials, which it seems like in a lot of popular series, there are trials. So, I can see how it's unique, but not in certain aspects. I like this book more than ACOTAR. I like reading about politics and the different dynamic between like the different courts, and all of that is a little bit higher level. And earlier you made a point where you can read any of these ACOTAR books for like the vibes and not getting all like the politics and the looking for Easter eggs and all that, and totally have a good time. But I like looking for the more in-depth stuff, and especially like looking at the political elements of it. So because this book has more of that, I enjoyed it a lot more. It was more complex in terms of like the storyline and the dynamic between the characters and stuff. Like we have grumpy beast guy, and we have stranger with the one eye, and we have to fight this worm. And so the stranger with the one eye doesn't die. So yeah, I felt like it was a little bit more complex. The villains were villaining in this one, and I like a book where it has, you don't just have like one bad guy. You have a lot of different elements that support like all the villains, and who like having the surprise of who is the villain. And obviously that being like Ianthe, which Ianthe's such a bitch. I hated her from the beginning. And I know it's a commentary on like acolytes and like religion and all of that for like her character and like how misguided she is. But like Sarah J Maas even sets up like the acolytes, they serve their god or goddesses, but they also serve themselves because, they can indulge in whatever they want. They don't have to be like chaste, or they can have like power and all of that. And Ianthe was just, I hated her so much. Like I don't think I've hated
like the power play of putting Feyre in a deliberately ugly dress, like on purpose.
Like how dare you? Yeah. That's her wedding day. And obviously she's also
like, saved all your people. She like literally just saved everybody. Like how are you gonna do her dirty like that, first of all?
Right? Ugh. And she, and then the way that like she always like positions herself, so like the sun perfectly aligns with the circlet, the silver circlet on her head, and blah, awful.
It's all planned.
Yes. So obviously in the audiobook, hearing all of the dynamic between them, and eventually seeing her downfall. Eventually, that's like nothing more satisfying. But yeah, she was.
The graphic audio for that was, we'll talk about that in our next breakdown for that.
Yes.
But yeah, you get to hear all the screaming that they're like, everyone was screaming. Everyone was screaming. And you hear that
as they should
the whole time. Yeah.
As they should.
And it's super graphic. Yeah. And I liked too, I think on that note of villains and these additional characters that get introduced, there's this level of, there's a lot of folks that have like, there's all these plot holes when you do a reread, which first of all, if anyone's listened and has never listened to me before, you will all know I'm a vibe reader, and I'm not really here for that. Like I don't look for plot holes, and maybe that's my own style. Are they obvious? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a 19-year-old human who now this High Lord is suddenly in love with, like out of the clear blue sky. He's like, I've loved her from the start. It's like, like
loved her from
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know.
She's able to read in 3 weeks. you see this man for 3 weeks, like 1 week at a time, 3 times, and you are suddenly able to read and write.
The most basic. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm sorry. I don't.
Right. Like, I get it. Rhysand, like, felt tied to her from the dreams. He felt tied to her because he really needed someone that he could trust, and he explores her mind as he gets to know, and he protects her, and, like, he truly loves her in a way, and he kind of knew. And I think for him, while that mating bond, and we could talk about this a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, there's just elements that you're just like, I don't know about all that. And even Tamlin, like, with his obsession with her, knowing that there's no mating bond, like, what's the deal, man? Like, why are we so obsessed with her? Like, what's going on? Is it just because she fulfills maybe this prophecy for you that didn't actually end up happening? And, there's just a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. And I just, again, I'm a vibe reader, so I'm not here to flesh out all that stuff. There's a lot of, like, haters that have a lot of comments about those things, but you need to get kind of past that to understand Tamlin is the abusive relationship. And that's the key thing we're supposed to get out of this, is overcoming an abusive relationship, what that looks like, identifying it, what it feels like to be, like, survivor/victim guilt. Because Feyre goes through that a lot in this book. Even though Rhys is, like, very blatant with, like, he did this, like, it doesn't click for her. She still has, like, I can't believe I like this new guy when I've been only apart from my, quote, love of my life who I was about to marry. Like, she just has so many conflicting things, and that's really what we need to focus on. You can, like, rip apart any story and be like, that would never happen. Like, if we sat there with Bren Weaver's books right now, like her serial killer books, but, like, listen, the DNA this would have been open and shut a while ago. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to do that to these books, because you're here for an experience. And what is the intent? What's the author trying to get you to feel or do or see or understand? But yeah, so I would agree with you. There's differences, and I liked this one better. What about let's talk about this question too, because this kind of ties into what I was just talking about. How does Feyre's trauma under the mountain, like, affect all of her relationships and decision making? And I think it all kind of ties to what I was just talking about with her relationship later with Rhysand. Yeah.
I mean, imagine, for one, with all the Fae for 50 years, having experienced what they experienced, and then Feyre having to undergo the weight of that as a mortal, do all these trials, have the weight of an entire race on your shoulders, and experience all that. And they don't have therapists in these courts at all, which they should. They absolutely should.
Deal.
If we need a therapist, there needs to be some sort of university where we go and learn how to unpack emotions, especially if you're living for, like, hundreds of years. Like, these High Lords are, like, what, Rhysand's like 500 something years old. Tamlin's somewhere close to that age, in the 400s or whatever. Lucian's, like, a little bit younger than that. That's a lot of burden to carry with you for hundreds of years. So, we need therapy. With Feyre, she obviously has this innate want to protect and fix, because that's what she does with her family. Like, think about, like, her role in her mortal family. Like, I have to provide because no one else is going to. So she wants the freedom, which, of course, anyone wants the freedom, but she also has this, like, caring heart to her, where she's like, well, I have this burden, but you also have this burden. I need to maintain my burden so it doesn't bleed onto your burden, but we honestly need to just work together. And the fact that Feyre and Tamlin, like, I was so frustrated at the beginning because they're both seriously going through some shit, and she's literally vomiting and losing so much weight because she's like, all that trauma is carrying on with her, and he completely ignores it because he's like hyper-focused on something else. Or
what is she? She's going through something. I'm just gonna act like that's not happening with my fate years. I'm just gonna pretend I don't hear my betrothed losing her lunch every night in the bathroom, and clearly, not sleeping, we're just gonna act like none of that's happening because that
having
doesn't
nightmares,
suit my
because he's
agenda.
having the same thing. Right, and he's having the same thing. So I don't, you know, she handles her shit, I handle my shit, which neither of you are handling any shit at this point in time.
No, nobody's handling
so
anything.
She obviously, a lot of her actions are driven by trauma. Her need for escape is driven by that because she still feels trapped. Even though she's free from under the mountain, she feels trapped because he does trap her ultimately. In the Spring Court because, you know, under the guise of protection, right? You can't do anything, even though you literally saved the whole race. You can't do anything, so I'm going to protect you because last time I couldn't protect my own things that were my own family, so I'm going to like safe harbor you, which I understand his motives. I don't agree with his actions. And I think this shows with Sarah J Maas, abuse isn't black and white. Right. It's not just bruises and marks and all that stuff. So this dynamic shows a more complex series of abuse that it often gets glazed over and isn't highlighted as much in modern society. So it's really important to portray that she portrayed abuse in this sort of way. And she always will, obviously in the later book, she feels not as much of not a connection, but like she owes him something because she carried that for a while. Like she feels like because her sisters had nice things that she owed him something, or, you know, she's gonna be nice because her family survived for a certain amount of time, or, you know, even with these like other courts,
all the things that he's done, you know, she feels like a measure of guilt. And she's never done anything for herself. That's another really important thing. It's Feyre has for the last, you know, half a decade been the sole breadwinner of literal bread and food for her family at this point. So she's never done anything for her. Then she gets herself in this situation and saves this whole realm, basically, is known as this like savior and hero, and then gets given the gift from multiple High Lords with all their magic, and now she's repressing it. So it's not just like the human piece of like her feeling herself, how she has all this external stuff that she's never had before. Her whole physical body, she died. Her whole body is brand new, and she has a partner who's just treating her like she's still human. Doesn't acknowledge any of the changes she's going through. Doesn't acknowledge that she can do anything, that she's capable. She's basically labeled as inept. It just is so polarly opposite of how Rhysand treats her. And it takes her some time to really acknowledge that change and what that looked like for her. It takes a whole book. I mean, she doesn't fully embrace him until chapter 55, which is obviously well known. And then we really start to find out what happens with her sisters, and then you got the freaking human queens and journey of the fact that they're like the human queens, but all they want to do is like live forever. I was just like, seriously, ladies, like this is y'all are haters of all the magical world. You don't want to touch magic, and magic's the devil and all this, but yet you want to live forever. What?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll take from it. It suits me. The irony, please. I can't.
They were worse than Hybern, honestly, because Hybern's like the villain, right? Hybern, and there are theories surrounding who Hybern is. There are a ton of theories about like him being Vogue, him being Dorian's brother from Tog.
Wait, what is Vogue? What is Vogue?
So
for those
the Vogue are these are two Tog references, Throne of Glass references. So the Vogue are like these. They're like just portrayed as like kind of like gods, and they're from these other realms, and they have like a bunch of power, ability to like world walk, and which is, you know, and all they want, there's princes and they just want power and all magical, that sort of thing. So in Tog we have more mortals, Throne of Glass. So there's theories that the King of Hybern is Vogue. We have like the prison, the people in the prison, or the creatures in the prison are Vogue. Amryn could be Vogue. Or descendants of the Vogue, or there's
or at
also
least
this
from somewhere else. Like we know she predates this world. The thing we don't have is like the dates of the worlds, and so like really fully going into that
they're
for 2
multiverses.
seconds. Yes. Throne of Glass is the multiverse, Crescent City is the multiverse, ACOTAR is the multiverse, and they all do converge. And so the question for book 6 and 7 is, knowing that it's over 1,000 pages, and we're going to talk about down the rabbit hole a little bit on some of the hate that SJM has gotten for this, but I digress. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but how does all of that like tie in? And so we've kind of moved on to question 3, which is related to villains. So we're just dive into that a little bit. How does all of that actually end up intertwining? And we're going to have a portion of one of our later episodes that really talks about all the theories that are out there related to this series and where all this ties in. You have the Bone Carver, who they also say predates this world. You have the Weaver, something else.
The Weaver.
She's a world, like then you have the Surreal. You have like all these like really interesting creatures that I have to give credit to SJM because she's creative with it. The Surreal cracks me up. Like I have a sticker on the back of my Kindle that's like Surreal tea, because he is just like, he or she, they're here for the tea. And the Surreal's just always got the tea. They've got the tea, whether they say the tea correctly or in a way that you can like figure out. I mean, that's on you. They're like, well, look, did you bring the chicken or not? Like, I'm trying to
bring the chicken, bring the robe. They've got you. That's all they want. And the next book with the Surreal is I like almost cried. But we'll talk about that next book. With all these characters but like these aren't villains. I don't even think the Bone Carver is a villain. I think
Bone Carver's
they've done bad things. But I don't think in this story, the storyline, he was maybe a villain in the past, but here he's not a villain. Because the Bone Carver and the Weaver, which the Weaver
he's in a prison
in the audiobook
at the very bottom for a reason.
Well, yeah,
the very bottom.
Well, no, there's more. Go further down. There's still more.
Much.
That Cassian. Yeah, Cassian has a thing with the creepies. He doesn't like scary things. Being a big bad Illyrian warrior, he doesn't. He doesn't like
go down to the bottom of the library. Let's go to the bottom of the library.
Well, in Bryaxis too. Bryaxis too, which
we'll talk about Bryaxis later.
Where's Bryaxis?
Does not get introduced in this window. Book. Yes.
Anyways, okay, so these characters, they're not villains in this storyline because ultimately in the next book they help them out. So,
walk the line.
Main villain, Hybern. We have Hybern, we have the Queens, and we have Ianthe. Those are our main villain characters in this book. Do other people do bad things? Yes. Are they villains?
Yeah. Yet to be seen. Some people think Lucien's a villain. I'm like,
Lucien was what is he? The sixth brother, seventh brother, and he's the youngest. He's the youngest brother. His family hates him. His mom's silent, but like kind of cares about him a little bit. And his best friend's Tamlin, who has anger issues and lots of problems. So if we have, he doesn't really have. I feel like he doesn't really have anyone. The person that who he had was like slaughtered in front of him. So,
and also his eyeball was created by a magical lady who lived under a mountain and was horrific. So there's that.
But he can see.
Yeah, he can whirl it. Well, I don't know if she created it. I think she just took the eye. I don't think she gave him the magical eye. That was later. But either way, he got his eye taken by Amarantha. So yeah, here we are. What about Tamlin? Let's talk a little bit more about Tamlin. And we talked a little bit about it already. But what signs did you see in ACOTAR that really foreshadowed how Tamlin was going to be in book 2?
When he couldn't literally hold at the dinner table, just like his claws kept coming out. I'm like, oh, this guy has some anger issues. Like, and the first time around when I was reading it, I was like, that's weird. He has like claws. Why is he so grunty all the time? He's just like, and just all the time. He's like, can barely speak. He's just grunting and like being mean all the time. So I think the signs were all there. Honestly, I think they were. I remember the stories told from Feyre's perspective. So obviously, she's gonna have some rose-colored glasses in certain instances, and
gonna see what she wants.
Yeah, exactly. But the signs were there. It was just bound to happen, unfortunately, because in book 1, like literally you can take Feyre away in book 1 and she wouldn't have to experience Amarantha, but we're just gonna kiss her instead. I'm gonna take what's mine. So again, he's more self-centered.
Yeah, like towards the end. Yeah.
So what about you? Warning signs?
No, I would agree. I think too there's obvious signs where he's, you know, trying to control her and where she can go and how much of the spring court she actually sees and like where she can venture to and all of that. And at the time she like puts it under the rug of like, oh, I'm human. I can't really do it. Like I can't really protect myself, that sort of thing. But book 2 really like it comes out in full because now he can really control her, well, perceived. He can really control her to the point. And for the first 3 months where Rhys doesn't call in his bargain and she has a tattoo on her arm, you know that Tamlin's like being driven insane that she even has this tattoo. Like this is unacceptable. And all the ways that we see even in book 3, like it really still is cemented that Tamlin's got some serious issues with her. Is that she has no identity without him in his mind. Like she's not her own person. He has a perception of her and like what she is going to do. And he deliberately ignores like anything else. She needs to go to her room and like paint and be this good little human person and like not talk back. She doesn't need to be involved in politics. Like she doesn't need to have a brain. She doesn't have a say. She needs to just like be happy that she's in the spring court and that I've provided for her. And like, that's it. Basically,
literally
robotic.
She has all the power from all the most powerful Fae in every single court. Yeah. It was definitely frustrating.
Let's ignore that.
Yeah.
It's like he ignored the Under the Mountain piece like entirely. He like chose to like blank out
walk
and be
that
like,
out.
Oh, we're back in our spring court now. Everything's fine. As if nothing had happened. Like just completely, oh, we're going to get married now. Everything's great. Like what? Yeah.
No, we're not okay here. Okay. We're not. No. And then Lucien the entire time. One thing I forgot about in my reread, or I remembered from the reread, is Lucien playing a bigger role in, you know, trying to keep the peace. Because he's torn between like, Feyre's right, but that's my friend, and he's the High Lord. So there's like the political dynamic in that, and like trying to find his role in that and trying to make both sides happy. But when you have such a toxic relationship, there's no way to do that. And he didn't have the balls to tell Tamlin, you're being a fucking dick. Like you need to stop it.
Like call your friend out. Right.
Yeah, exactly. If you love someone, you call them out on their shit. That's honestly it.
And Feyre's pissed about it the whole time.
Yeah.
That this happens. That he feels
understandably
like betrayed.
He was, and I think, willingly ignorant.
Yeah. And I think in book 3, like, we'll talk about that more, but I really think like how her relationship with him and dynamic of like frustration, especially after his last words, basically at the end of this book of like saying Elain is his mate. She's like, the fuck she is. Like, you just know. Like, she doesn't want that either. Like this is someone who betrayed her, and even though she really cares for Lucien, ultimately she still is just like, you had so many opportunities to protect me or to do the right things, and you just didn't. And then he always falls on the, like, you didn't know how complex things are. Well, like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you didn't understand what he was going through. Like, well, why did you tell me? Like, what do you mean? Like, you just keep falling on, oh, my friend was having a hard time. Like, oh, I'm sorry, my friend was abusive to you. He was having a hard time. Like, how many times do we just say that? Like, you were just going to let me get married. You know, she even said that. Like, you were just going to let this happen. You knew I didn't want to marry him. Like, you've known this. Like, why are you coming to try to take me back to him? Like, she says that to him, like, in the open wood when he, like, comes back to get her. And he's like, she's like, what are you doing here? You already knew this. Like, why don't you just tell your friend, like, look at me. I'm in Illyrian leathers.
Healthy.
I'm out here with, like, literally, I'm not bone thin anymore. I've literally, like, look good. I'm verbally telling you I don't want to go back with my mouth. Like, I'm telling you the words. Why is this not enough? And his denial and like his desire to be loyal to Tamlin so overrode Feyre. And honestly, logically, if we're talking about plot holes, that makes the most sense to me because he's literally been loyal to him for hundreds of years. I mean, they've been together for the last 49 years. He's just going to turn his back on Tamlin. It doesn't make logical sense that he would just suddenly side with homegirl from, the human lands. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like people get like mad and I'm like, well, it kind of the whole story of like who can like.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't agree with it. And he says, and we can talk more about the next book. I know we keep saying that just because I feel this book bleeds into next book so easily.
It does. Very quickly.
But in next book, he even mentions, I didn't realize I was a villain in your story. And that was a surprise to him because he didn't realize what he was doing, like the impact that it had on him because of his perspective. And I feel like that's just such a real thing to have in a book. And Sarah J Maas does like to reflect reality with her books, and how we as people, we are our own heroes, right? But we're also villains in other people's stories, and we just don't understand that. And that's something that's hard to see. That's something that's hard to reflect on. I feel like a lot of people don't like to do that because it requires accountability. And even though if you're making actions and you're making decisions based on what you think is the best, you're still probably a villain for someone else. And that doesn't make you a bad person. That just means recognize that, take accountability for it. And I feel like that's what he tries to do, and the books falling after that.
I would agree.
So let's move on because we talked a lot about like a major, like the first half of the book, essentially. So let's move on to like the Night Court and Feyre's experience in the Night Court, how it really impacted her growth and how it really healed her in experiencing Rhysand, the Night Court, and really the inner circle as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Anne was respectful of her need for space and her need for not immediate romance or an intimate relationship, and the way that this man has like held on by a tether like this whole time. Like, he was going to be okay with his mate that he knew was his mate because the bond snapped in place, and we talked about this last episode. He was okay with like letting her go marry Tamlin if that was okay. Like, the man's been struggling, okay? And even in this book, he finally like brings her. He doesn't take her the first time from the time she's going to get married. No. He then takes her each week of the month, and like there's this whole battle of like how long she's willing to like go with him, and like he shows up again, and he's still like the villain to her, even though when she goes there, she's visibly better. Like, he doesn't even hang out with her while she's there. Like, the week of the bargain, he's like, here, learn to read. Here, eat some food. Here's more. Introduce yourself to more. You're gonna get to know more. The rest of my inner circle, here they are. She gets to see Velaris. She gets to see the difference between the Court of Nightmares and the Night Court, the visible difference between the two, and how the Night Court itself and Velaris has been, hidden for 5,000 years, and the whole deal. She finally gets to understand like what that all is, and doesn't connect for her because she's a victim of abuse, and because she has so much trauma, and because she's uneducated, all the things, right? She's young, the whole deal, right? This is her first major love as Tamlin. It takes her some time to fully grasp like, oh my God, I'm like way healthier over here. I have no desire to go back. Like, it takes a minute. And he's so patient. He, throughout the entire book, even up to chapter 55, where she's like pissed that she finds out that the mating bond, like through the Suriel, that this is the one, the High Lord that she's supposed to stay close to, because the Suriel has a way with words. And she finally realizes, oh, wait, like Rhys almost dies. And she's like, oh, shit, like, this is how I save him. Oh, and it's going to be my blood for a couple of reasons, but like, I'm also that's your mate. So like, here's how you save your mate. And she's like, the fuck do you mean? What? And she's like, oh my God. And then she like flees, right? I have some issues with that, but we'll talk about that. But either way, I think because of his automatic like love for her and his own trauma and the work that he's done and the power of the friendships he's had and the way that he chooses to run his court so vastly different from Tamlin's level of like, I am the highest and the most powerful, therefore I'm going to rule over my court. Rhysand does not run his court like that. Rhys couldn't be more polarly opposite than that and values everybody, like they all dress in plain clothes and however they feel like dressing. More will dress fancy one night she won't. Like there's no expectation of anything. And I think that level of humility from him, especially given how all the other courts perceive him, including the Court of Nightmares, was a shock for her. And I think it makes you really love him, especially because you have a level of understanding of how much time he's truly given, especially by the time you get to like chapter 55, you're like, damn, it all like connects the first time. And then it's still like, you still enjoy it the second time. I think it's still just as enjoyable.
Right. I would agree. And I think with the inner circle, it's the power of friendship, how friendship can help you heal, because that's, Rhysand has been through some shit, and Tamlin has also been through similar shit because of like their family rivalry. Remember, they have some deep hatred for each other based on parental actions. But Rhysand has his people to fall back on and to check his shit and to support him and love him unconditionally. And that just shows how much you can be a healthy ruler and have your balances, because you need the people to fall back on. And Feyre realizes that really easily because, like you said, she doesn't fall back on Rhys. Rhys is not in the question, really. It's more at first. Like, she needs a girlfriend. She needs a girl that she can talk to, and someone that's so not that she's carefree, but she has such a free spirit in terms of how she projects herself. But
she also has a really dark past that Feyre connects to, because she knows that what happened to Mor is gruesome and horrifying. And Mor is also a victim of the Autumn Court of Lucian's oldest brother. So it's I think that all hits for her too.
Right, absolutely. And then you have Amren and her take no shit dragon hoarder of shiny things. And but she'll check everyone. Like, listen, you're making a bad choice. I'm going to tell you because I care about you. So it's not the way she portrays it isn't like I'm a millennial old and you should listen to me. It's like, I care about this place and I care about you. So you're making a bad choice. I'm going to tell you. And then you have Asriel, and it like has like a weird gentleness to him. Not weird, but
quiet.
Very quiet gentleness. And Cassian, who he's like this golden retriever, a type of like
he's the comic relief.
So you have all these different dynamics that really helped her find herself again, and not even find herself again, but find herself, period. Because when you're in survival mode, you don't really know who you are because you're focusing on surviving. And that's what she's been doing her entire life for the most part as a mortal. Like, she hasn't, if you know who you are when you're like 12, you don't know who you are, honestly, as an adult. So the way that they help her find herself and her place and validate her and her feelings, because she hasn't been validated in a sense of belonging, even though she was like the sole provider for her family. So the Night Court is like so integral in making sure that she finds herself as a person, or as a fae, not a person, female.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, same thing. But you brought up the cabin. So the cabin, chapter 55, that's a big important part. And, we're bringing in the mating bonds, and we're bringing... the cabin scene is because she flees when she finds out she's mates with Rhysand and
way up north in the snow, the mountains, cabin.
Yeah, and that's like where they go and have their snowball fights, and because they're the
way that Amren was still part of the group at this time. You're like, wait, what? Yeah, literally, she's been around a long time. She's been hanging out with them for a hot minute.
Yes. So, and then she goes to the cabin, and Mor winnows her there, or kind of almost there. And she's like, okay, well, you'll have all your needs here. Go chill out.
Yeah.
And
I want this house. Yeah.
Right.
But
she like,
It just provides. The house provides.
Oh yeah, no. I want both of the houses. The cabin and the house that provides.
The townhouse.
Yeah. And that also like smut, but we'll talk more about that in Court of Silver Flames. And then she finds paints and then she paints the house. So, Danny, thoughts, feelings about someone coming into your home and painting your house?
The way I was like, I was more in this because Moore shows up after like 3 days. Okay. She like drops off her little friend and she comes in and she's like, oh, you've decorated. She's like, oh yeah, I just like, I started painting and I couldn't stop. And she's like, oh, those are our eyes up there. Those are our eyes. And she's like, oh, one is missing. And it's like Rasanne's. And so like the way I laughed, because I could listen to this on the audio and I could like kind of hear her tonality. I was like, yes, I am more in this situation. Because I'm like, you leave our girl here. And instead of taking, so there's canvas that was left. It wasn't just paint. Like Amren's canvas and paint were left there. And the way that she's just like, oh, I'm gonna physically paint the house on the inside. I was like,
listen, a canvas isn't enough to convey all the emotions that she felt in that time.
I was like, but why? What? Why? We didn't even ask. This isn't even your house. We didn't even ask anyone. Like, what's going on? What are we doing? And this is like, I mean, I guess somebody could like magic it off or whatever they do. Like, I don't know. But I was just like, where's our manners, Feyre? Nice. What are we doing? I couldn't.
And she's supposed to be like right, but she's supposed to be like the best, right? She's supposed to be like this magical painter, and she like has all this artistic skills, even having no training whatsoever. But I'm just picturing like my 5-year-old daughter scribbling on the walls. I'll be honest, like if she was drawing eyeballs, that's what I was picturing. Like
an eyeball, it's just like round with yellow or something, like a color,
like some like eyelashes, like big old eyelashes. Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Eyeballs stare.
That's fair. Yeah, I the second time around, I literally was just like, wait a minute, why is she? Because you don't think about that the first read. Read, you don't think about that at all. I mean, I didn't. I did not think about that a single time. The first read, I was like, oh my god, finally they're gonna hook up, right? Finally, like this pivotal moment that we've been waiting for. One cabin. Look, like she's gonna make him a meal. Like we're gonna finally have this whole thing, like, right? And that's all I'm reading. And then the second read, I'm like, what are we doing painting the house? Like, why? What's happening here? Why would we do that? I don't understand. Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
I actually thought, because, the meal's supposed to be really significant, right? That's like the accepting of the mating bond. And I thought it was really funny because it's like a can of soup, right? And it just reminded me.
Campbell's.
So when
like dumps it in.
When me and my husband first started dating, the first time I made like breakfast for him, because we were gonna go to Universal, so we were trying to. I like heated up. What did I heat up? It was like toaster strudels or something. No, it was toaster strudels, and it was still cold on the inside. And he was like chewing through it, like, this is so great. And I'm like, mine's cold. Is yours cold? He's like, yeah, but it's fine. I'm like, tell me it's cold. And I'm like, this guy thinks I can't even heat up fucking pastry. So I had to do a redo. I'm like, well, I'm making you a proper meal because I promise it's not this bad. And we like just started dating and everything. So I just thought it was funny because it reminded me of like the first time I made something for my husband, which was god awful. So yeah.
It's funny. Yeah. I actually have to think.
Yeah, what'd you make for your
husband
for the first time?
I don't. Honestly, I don't know. And to be fair, like, he also, like, added cold water to oatmeal and called that, like, a meal. So the bar was pretty low. Yeah.
You have to. I mean, I guess if you did
overnight
oats.
No, he didn't heat it up. No overnight. That was the whole thing. That was it. Yeah.
Does he not? Did he not know that you have to let
No, he does. He just didn't have the time. He just didn't want to.
Oh, we don't have
in the microwave for 30 seconds. I'm like, listen, what's happening here?
I can picture that, to be honest. I can.
He's like, takes too long. I'm at the door. I'm like, what? What? Yeah.
Okay.
No sense. Yeah. Don't use logic. You hurt your head. Okay, let's talk about the Starfall.
Yes. Starfall.
We talked about it a little bit. I do wonder now, like now going back, talking about it a little bit more, I wonder if there are any nods to the other series and if we get a little bit of snippet of that in this book that I didn't piece together on a first read, because I definitely, ACOTAR was the first of the series that I read, so I didn't even think about it at all because I hadn't read it before. But now that I've already read Throne of Glass and Crescent City, when we talk about Starfall, and they originally talk about like all these like shooting stars that are going over for a whole night, I do wonder now, is this a nod to the multiverse? Is there something here that we didn't think about before? What are your thoughts?
I would agree, just because as a first reader, I didn't think about it. I'm like, oh, cool, stars. Stars and their dust gets on you. That's kind of weird. And their souls, okay, soul dust all over you. That's great.
Right.
And
yeah.
So with Tog, though, the last book in Tog, Throne of Glass, Selena Sardothian, or Aelin Galathinius, Ash River, all the titles, she goes through a word gate and she is falling, and she comments on how she sees stars, and then she sees a man and a woman who's pregnant, so hand on her baby or hand on her belly, and she comments on that. And then vice versa, we see the same scene, not in this one, but obviously because Feyre is pregnant. So that's in a later one. That Rhysand in Frost and Starlight has like a kind of a scrunch on his face when he sees like a red one shoot across. So obviously that is Aelin going through a word gate and really just kind of jumping worlds, because she's like falling into like a bunch of different worlds and it's blurring together. So when he said like, these are souls, honestly, I feel like those are a bunch of people or a bunch of beings like world hopping, like to see all those souls. I mean, I don't think they're dead. And, you know, obviously the Fae, like Rhysand says, like, you know, this predates history. I don't know. I think it's souls. Like the lore is souls. And, you know, I feel like he's right to some extent, but I honestly, these are clearly beings, world hopping or going through the Sarah J Maas multiverse in some way, shape, or form, because who knows? We have 3 different series with 3 vastly different worlds that interconnect through these word gates, portals, whatever have you. And who knows how many of there can do that, because in Tog it's
but
the
also
Volk, but
and then I think like of Amryn and the Bone Carver and like the other beings that we see in this series that are like, oh, they're not of, like they predate this world. I think all of those things are just really what happens at the end of Crescent City. Extremely interesting how that all wraps up, and like where are these things all going to start to tie in?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, let's talk about the Cauldron and Hybern and all the things. And I but like also like Hybern, I'm like, bro, why do we care about this little like tiny little island? Like just go across the way to the other human lands. Like why do we have to go take this one? Why do we even care? It's smaller than your lands. Like why do we even, I don't understand. Like the whole thing is like baffling to me. It's just not prime. Like it's just, and this is where we're talking about like plot holes. Some like first read, you're like, oh, this guy's just pissed. Like he's mad because he's human. Like he's like out to seek his like revenge. Like it all is like kind of like entry level. And then you read it the second time, you're like, why does this guy care about this? Like you look at the map and you're like, this doesn't even make sense. Like why do we care about all this? Like let's just let these people live. Like why does this even matter? Like what's going on? Like Jurian, totally get it. That man's pissed and rightfully so.
Yeah,
I get Jurian all day long. Understood. But the rest of them, I'm like, I don't know, like what? Just go deal with these queens. Like, why do we, you know, like what's the deal? And also, like, we're just gonna go in through the spring court. Like, it's just that easy. We're just gonna like, you know, we're gonna go through the wall and like we can't fly. We have no other abilities. Like, we have this big ass fucking cauldron and we can't tell it to make us something that can fly us over or something like aerial to take over this land. We've got to go by on foot. Like, look, and then I was like, you know what?
Cauldron
I got to
teleport. He can use the
I know,
cauldron
but I'm
teleport
just saying,
too.
like,
Yeah,
you know?
Hybern is giving, like, when your child has a favorite toy and then they don't touch it for 5 years and all of a sudden someone else wants it. And then all of a sudden it's like the thing that they obsess with that they have to have. Yeah. So yeah, he's like a 5-year-old. With Hybern, the obsession, I was like, why does it matter? Why is the spring court? I mean, I understand it's the biggest court, so he has like a lot to defend and not a lot of people. But yeah, it was just that was frustrating to read, especially you have the Cauldron. You have the thing that grants you all the things. Why does it matter?
The books. Now Feyre's done brought you the books.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, you lose the books, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You had the books for a second.
So
and the way I forgot entirely about the summer court.
Yeah.
Entirely.
And that's a good chunk. That's a good couple of chapters.
I knew that they got something out of the water with the tides and shit, but I didn't remember any of like the politics of that at all.
Yeah. Feyre's flirting.
Completely gone. No, I forgot the whole deal. Forgot all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the betrayal, and you remember why the summer courts is mad, which understandable, you stole something of ours.
I mean,
under the guise of friendship, fuck you. Yeah. So yeah, totally understandable.
Like this like nice onyx necklace thing, like this whole deal, like some of Joel. She's like,
he showed her he showed her the vault.
People. Yeah, he's like, let me take you on a tour. I'm gonna show you all these things. Like, look at this beautiful, summer court. The way the summer court reminded me of like, I don't know, some islands off the coast somewhere or something. I mean, they're not described as islands because obviously you see the map, it's not. But like in my mind, how I'm visualizing it, because they're like have water and there's all these tides and it's like hot as shit. And so I'm like, oh, this is like some island,
not Florida
somewhere,
summer,
right? Beautiful.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't picturing Florida. I was picturing like Amalfi Coast.
Yeah, there you go.
So I was like,
more like
kind of
mild summer.
Yeah.
Not like roasted egg,
Florida
quite
ass
literally
crack
on
of the
tarmac,
devil hot.
like awful.
we got the Florida man fighting some gators. None of that nonsense.
We have our own things. Yeah, we got our own lore over here in the swamp. As they say.
I totally forgot about that. And with the ending, also, you have the sisters who I totally forgot. Like before the Cauldron, Feyre and Nesta. Or Feyre was trying to plot with Nesta and Elain to help the humans. And, you have that betrayal because everyone hyper focuses on like Nesta being a big bitch, which she is, but she also tried. In book 2 and 3, she tried really hard to understand this world that she was supposed to hate, like her entire life. She's supposed to hate. She doesn't understand it. But her sister's a part of it. So she's like, you know what? I was a shit sister. I let my hate
how can I
up. Let me try. Yeah. So we forget that. I forgot it. I'm like, oh yeah, she was like so helpful. It's really sad that how she turned out in Silver Flames. But yeah, and then in the end, in the finger pointing, like that whole that was just hard. I know reading from Feyre's perspective, it was hard. Like the splash of the Cauldron in the audiobook and just being immersed in that read. And then all of a sudden, like Lucien's like my mate. And I honestly feel like Lucien, if he just held on to that information and didn't, give it in the most traumatic moment in someone's life, I feel like him and Elain might have stood a chance. But at this point,
she doesn't even know what that means. Like, she doesn't know what any of that means. She's like,
I'm betrothed.
Like, I'm about to get married. Yeah,
right.
Married to a guy that literally hates, like, his whole family hates y'all a lot.
The iron ring,
so much
and
so that my ring is literally made of something to like repel y'all.
Right.
Like, you guys are supposed to be, and like they're taught that their whole lives, and now it's like flipped on its head.
Yeah.
And then the journey of the Cauldron isn't described in this book. So you don't get their perspective of like what they saw or how that felt. And the thing with Elain, she still irritates me in book 2. That has not changed. Okay.
I don't think that's changed in the whole series for me. And that might change. if we get her perspective.
Our girl's gardening, and everybody's like, and it's crazy because Feyre and Nesta are like, we've got to just love Elain, you know? She's out there and she's gardening and she's like the sweetest of us and she's like the most. And I'm like, she's your older sister who did jack shit to help you with anything.
Grown a squash, a vegetable.
We could have grown some vegetables. Like, we're just like fine with this. Like, what the what? Like, I don't. Elain just irritates me. I really want to like her the way Nesta and Feyre do, you know, because I got that whole sisterly, like, protect my middle sister. She's like Cauldron blessed, or I don't know, some shit.
Maybe
can't.
I don't understand that because I don't have a sister, and
I don't get the dynamic
either. Yeah,
I don't get the dynamic of like why we have to protect Elain. Like, why do we have to protect Elain? Doesn't she have the most accountability too? Like, doesn't she? It's just because she was just like in a good mood all the time. Like, she just like radiated positivity of how we're going to get out of all this mess. So then therefore, like, we like her. Like, I don't like, what else has she done? Literally nothing. Nothing.
Nope. Yeah. Elain is, everyone gives Nesta shit for being like awful. It's like, well, at least Nesta kind of spoke her mind. Like, Elaine's just kind of
Nesta stood for something and she had valid reasons.
Yeah. And then, so we'll get more into, you know, their reactions to the Cauldron because it's like the end, right? We have the Cauldron and then that's it. We don't really get the aftermath so much in this book. So in the next book, we'll talk more about like, you know, now they're Fae. What does that mean for them? What does that mean for their core? Like, you know,
and their choices after this whole thing and like what happens and we'll talk about that next episode. But okay, so let's put this mating bond, right? So there's a lot on and I thought about doing it down the rabbit hole, but ultimately I think it makes more sense to just cover as a question. But like for the mating bond, did you think, because everyone talks about this, like, oh, if there's a mating bond, like there's no choice. There's no choice in the matter. What did you think about that?
I think in a lot of series it does. It does mean that there's no choice. However, I don't think in this series because Sarah J Maas mentions multiple times how like nature makes mistakes. There are several references to other characters that it didn't work out. Rhysand's parents, they were awful together, even though they were mates. His dad, awful man. His mom was a bright light and stuck around for Rhysand. But the mating bond didn't work for them. And the fact that women, Fae females, they can reject the bond. It mostly talks about how like the females can reject the bond, and it kind of drives the males more insane. But they have the ability to reject it. And I think that is, you know, Sarah J Maas's way of, you know, she's talking a lot about abuse and why she wouldn't write in, oh, now they have mates and there's no choice. You know, I don't feel like that doesn't go with her writing style, and she's very intentional.
Meaning the difference between like Tamlin and Rhysand for Feyre. Is that what you mean there? Okay.
Yeah. So like, you know, she was betrothed to Tamlin, right? But she's mates with Rhysand, and you know, Sarah J Maas talks about the abuse of Tamlin and how she like overcame that and all that stuff. She's not going to be like, you overcame abuse. Now here, you're stuck in this relationship with this person. Even if you love that person, you're still stuck in it, you know? So she's going to write
this is not
mating bonds in a way.
This is not a dark romance arranged marriage situation.
No, not at all.
This is, by any means. Yeah.
So she's very intentional.
Which I love those. That's just not this. Let me be clear. Those are fun. Not this.
Yeah.
Not this. It's not the message we're getting here.
No. Not for this book. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. For this book, it doesn't diminish anything. We still have the relationship. We still have the love, the romance, and the, you know, all of the fun, good stuff that goes along with that. What about you and your thoughts?
I mean, I echo that. I think the world that she's built around bonds and mating bonds in general and things snapping into place is based on choice and acceptance, because Feyre doesn't feel it snap into place until she's accepted it, until she hears it from someone else. But really, like, she's always known like they can talk mind to mind. They have all these other things that are there. And this is really discussed so much more in the next book of like where she can really feel those things. But she has to accept it and love him first. And that is not necessarily how a lot of other bonds like that are described. I don't think that there's a lot of folks that have had negative feedback about the series, like, oh, if there's a mating bond, automatic no, like I'm not going to read it because the each party didn't have a choice, and like Rhysand didn't really have a choice. He was only attracted to Feyre because of the mating bond. He explicitly says multiple times that it was like her mind that he loved, and he loved her for her. And even though he knew about the mating bond, it wasn't like at the beginning that he knew about the mating bond. It didn't slide into place until later for him. And you know that if you really read book 1, you know that he was already just felt drawn to her automatically. And who can say that that's any different than chemistry or any different than what we have in our mortal world of feeling attached to somebody that you care about? You can't describe what that thing is. Right. It's that intangible draw. And I think that in this case, the mating bond, while there's a magical element to it, it's absolutely acceptance or choice by each party. So I don't think it's the same like that. The way that folks diminish it to a smaller scale of like, oh, it's nobody has a choice here. I mean, you can even see that with Lucien and Elain, obviously. Or Cassian and Nesta. And we'll talk about that a lot more too, of like Cassian's word choice and how he described,
Poor Cassian.
For Cassian. But I mean, same thing. And how you play that and what does that look like? But yes.
All right. So going into speaking of Cassian, because he's a member of the inner circle, most important question, which member of the inner circle would be the most fun at a girls' night?
Offhand, as a girl's girl, the Morgan, she'd be a time. Okay. But she would be more of a time with Cassian. So like we need the pair. We need the duo. Have the full vibe.
Right, yeah.
But the way that they would just be a trip, they would just be so fun. And they're like not like Azra would be like brooding in the back, like time to leave. That's your last round. Like Moore and Cassian would be like, no, we need one more to keep it going. They would never would be like, they'd be like, no, they're playing music for at least 3 more hours. Like, what do you mean? We're not rushing out of here.
They're not the most responsible.
Like, that's not what. No, we're here to have a good time.
What do you mean we're training in the morning?
Even
that's
though
not a thing.
Yeah, whatever. We'll sweat it out. It's fine. Let's go. Yeah. How do you feel like they'd be the most fun? What about you?
I feel like Cassian solo would be a good time because I'm just thinking of
on his own,
in Frost and Starlight, him and Feyre just get fucking drunk on fairy wine, and they're decorating the house for Christmas with all these wreaths and garlands and whatnot, and it looks like complete shit because they're just like partying and drinking and they're throwing everything everywhere, and then just that whole scene was like one of my favorites in the book just because it's so funny and everyone walks in like, oh my god, who gave them wine? So yes, I feel like Cassian, if I were to pick one, Cassian would just be a time, because even though he's
the
a
guy
male, he's like also a girl's girl.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's always gonna get invited. He's like always gonna get invited to whatever the thing is. He's the guy of like the friends group. He's like, yeah, he can come. He's good.
Yeah,
with us.
he's
can
cool.
come.
He's cool.
You know how like elite that invite is? Like, that is like exclusive invite to be able to come. Like, that's a rare occasion. You know. Okay, you're not going to tell us to stop. You're not going to police us. You're just here for the vibes. You're going to enhance the vibes. Like, this is what we're looking for, right? Yes, absolutely. I would agree.
All right, well,
really excited for the next book. Yeah. Let's do Down the Rabbit Hole, because we need to talk about SJM and how Booktok and Bookstagram have come for her and always come for her no matter what. So the latest thing right now is that everyone's pissed because we don't have a book title, and the book is releasing in the fall. So you have all these, you have all these Instagrammers and literally who are like, no, but she told us we're getting a book, but that was months ago. Now she hasn't told us that what the title of the first book is. Like, she can't give us any of that. And it's like the girl can't win. She just told you she's releasing 2 books, and like, this isn't enough. And on that same note, I wanted to talk about how she specifically chose Call Her Daddy podcast to have a long interview that was also not enough because she didn't cover any of the more intense topics that were supposed to be asked of her. Meanwhile, this is an interview. She doesn't write the questions. I digress. So I kind of wanted to talk about how when we had Carissa Broadman on very recently, one of the things she talks about was like the old internet era. She talked about how she even asked us, like, do we think like readers fundamentally have changed? And SJM is like the pinnacle author, especially in the romantasy genre, who is so polarized and so just like attacked for every single little thing that she does that she literally doesn't even go on social media. She's like a ghost. She doesn't post, nothing. And so I kind of wanted to get your take on that and like thoughts and feelings surrounding the latest thing that SJM has done, which is, oh my God, she didn't release her book, which by the way, guys, that's the publisher. Okay. That's not SJM. She's signed contracts. They'll release her shit when they release it. Right. She doesn't get to have a say in that. So we can all just like chill. But yeah. So what are your thoughts and feelings on that topic specifically?
So when we talked to Carissa, I think we both said that readers as a whole haven't changed much, but the voices are louder because of the internet. The negativity is louder than the positivity for the most part, because it's so easy to have like that pile up because of algorithms and whatnot. So the fact that SJM stays off the internet is good for her mental health, probably, just because, I mean, think of if I'm like scrolling through reels and I see like a lot of ACOTAR stuff, like she would see a lot of that and not all that's positive. And imagine how that can impact your writing as an author, like hearing like theories or just, negative thoughts about your book, and you pour out so much of yourself into these books. And she, in Call Her Daddy, which I felt was like eye-opening for me because her characters and the scenes that she writes reflect moments that she had in her life. And especially with like Feyre, and I know so many people like hate a pregnancy trope and they'll like not read a book or DNF a book because of a pregnancy trope, but she literally went through a traumatic pregnancy and that was like her way of coping. Imagine like she was literally cut open poorly, and it was awful for her. And then with Nesta's journey, she was literally climbing a mountain herself and trying to heal. So I feel like when you pour yourself into these books, when they're not just stories, they're your way of coping with life and, reflect your inner thoughts and feelings, and people just tear it to shit, like that's hard because then it's personal. At that point in time, it's not just your work, it's like your life, So these authors, they don't deserve the disrespect that they get. It's okay to not like a book, but to be disrespectful is another thing. And a lot of people feel, not that they feel the need to be disrespectful, but they feel that they can safely be disrespectful on the internet because it's just the internet. It's like, well, there are people behind the screen, and
who are we? On that note, like Rebecca Yarros and Callie Hart have, good God, the amount of hate that the both of them have gotten for all different things is like, they're never going to make anybody happy. And they're still very like connected to their fans and very, very, tied into social media. And I just wonder for how long is that going to continue for them that they're going to want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's impacted Cal. Like, I'm just thinking specifically of Callie because she's, it's been about a month since she released that post about the book covers and how, things have impacted her. It's maybe been longer than a month. I can't quite remember. But, and that's someone who she stays close to social media so she can be close to her people, her book people.
Yeah.
But that's not all she gets, right? No. So, and on that note, the book community is entitled. It's entitled. The loud voices are so entitled because obviously you have the voices that are like, do your thing, And I feel like a good portion of the community is like that, but the ones that are loud are the entitled ones. The ones that are, why don't I have a title? Why don't I have a title yet? It's like, okay, well, I know the book comes out in 2.5. 2 and a half months, at the end of November.
October. Yeah, first book is end of October.
I know, the end of October. Yeah. So, and so if you have one,
no one owes you anything.
That's not gonna.
Did you pre-order it? Like,
that's not gonna
still
change.
Gonna get the book on the same date.
Anything.
Like,
exactly.
No,
like
what's literally
that gonna
nothing.
do? You can't make reels now about how you don't have a book. That's what's gonna change. You can't make reels about it. Now you can change your topic of your reels. That's the only thing that's gonna change. The fact that we have 2 books instead of one big one. She literally says in Call Her Daddy, there is not enough glue that is strong enough to combine the pages. Like it doesn't work. Like, that's
so
a problem
many people
for the
like,
glue makers.
Another SJM money grab. Of course, she like waits till now, and now she's gonna do 2 books. Like, why wouldn't she just do one? She's gonna make us buy 2. Like, she didn't make you. She's not making you do anything.
Have to buy anything.
Literally
you don't
nothing.
Have to buy anything. That is a choice. We need to take accountability for our choices. And and then there's a flack on the
paperback versus hardback.
Right. And so now we have another set of hardcovers that reflect like the pretty colorful ones as opposed to like the black and white or the grayish mute color ones, so you don't have to buy the books, right? It's
right.
You don't have to buy the books.
You don't have to buy anything.
Exactly.
Nothing.
And some of the things I'm like, did you even listen to the podcast? A lot of people probably did it. They listened to an Instagrammer who listened to the podcast, who gave you your 2-minute reel about the podcast, or
who you responded to, where you didn't even listen to the 2-hour podcast because the 2-hour podcast was too long. So you're like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take a sound bite or something and then make a clip off of that, or who knows? Yeah.
What we're learning is you'll never make anyone happy, so you need to just do what's best for you.
Exactly.
You're not going to make everyone happy.
But we're just learning it again.
Yes. And we'll continue
that facts again. Yeah. And it's it's a hard pill to swallow, because I think you and I both like want to see the best in people and want to know that the book community as a whole as toxic as it is. And I truly do think, and when we answered Carissa, because she asked that question, like, what do we think? It's like, I really truly, like, as a whole, don't believe readers have changed. No. I think that we're about to go do a romantasy panel at Barnes and Noble in a couple days, and I fully anticipate that to be like a wonderful experience. And I don't anticipate any of that negativity that we see online. But the fact remains that the algorithms love that shit, and they just like love to show it to people, and they love to get the controversy going, and they love to get people commenting.
Move the comments up.
This is engaging, and So I think like part of it still stems from the internet is really the problem. It's not actually that readers have changed. So yeah, I would agree. All right. Well, that wraps up Down the Rabbit Hole. That's all I had.
So now it's time for Mystery Q&A. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
So with Mystery Q&A, these questions are completely random and have not been shared with either of us prior to asking.
All right. So this question is kind of tied to technology. We talked a little bit about internet a few minutes ago. We've talked about AI quite a bit. So you go into a store, wherever. Do you ask for help, or do you ask your phone? And if you ask your phone, do you ask AI? What do you do? Let's say it's makeup.
Like if I go, if it's makeup and I'm like looking for makeup, I'll be honest, if I go into Sephora or Ulta, I get so overwhelmed at all the choices. I do my research beforehand on what I need. I don't browse those stores because I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, what's this brand? Why is this brand different? What is this cream versus the powder? Why do I need this setting powder over this powder? Why are these brushes different? So I get so overwhelmed.
I mean, this is totally fair. Yeah.
So I research beforehand, and I'll be honest, my biggest research, if I'm like buying makeup, for example, my biggest researcher is like Pinterest. So I'll look through Pinterest and I'll have like the list, like top 10 products
you're,
that
like,
you need.
Between two. Are you between two? Like, do you ask somebody?
If I'm between two, no. I don't ask the employees unless one approaches me.
Interesting.
I don't go find it.
So somebody comes up to you.
Yeah, if someone comes up to me, they're like, hey, do you need anything? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, actually, I have a question. But I'm not going to go and bother someone And
that's your introvert talking.
Yeah, that's me being an introvert. I'm like, okay, well, I'll look up reviews. So I'm gonna ask AI. I'm like, which one's better, because it's gonna regurgitate some things, and I don't know like what it's looking at. So I'll like go on like Ulta or Sephora's website and like, what are the reviews, or
the reviews.
You know,
that's fair.
So I'll look at reviews. So I'll for the most part, I'll look at reviews. I avoid human interaction as much as possible. So yeah, what about you? Do you ask? Are you more readily?
I will not go up to someone and ask unless I absolutely have to.
Okay.
I will try to solve the problem on my own.
Yeah.
Whether that be like finding an object on an aisle. Like if I'm in the grocery store and I need to find an item, I will go on the grocery store website and look up said item, and it will tell me the aisle before I will go find an employee. Like hands down. I will do that. I've done it multiple times. I will continue to do it. It has worked for me many times. I will still do it. Especially if we were like traveling and we're in a store I don't know, like a grocery store we don't know. Like I will 1000% do that. Yeah. If someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, like, do you need any help with something?" And I'll be like, "Okay, well, that's opportunity. Well, now you've asked me. So now I feel it's kind of the same thing. It's like, but I'm not going to ask AI. I'm not going to like go into. So the reason I asked this question is it comes from like this whole. There was a rant a while back that I saw on someone who works at one of these big makeup stores, and she was talking about how so many clients come in and they'll be like, "I want this one thing," and it's like from an AI thing, and it's like, we don't sell that anymore because it's discontinued. And they like break down. They're like, "What do you mean it's discontinued? It's telling me it's here." She's like, "It's but it's that's not a thing. Like we don't have it. But I have like these other things. Well, I don't want these other things. Let me ask the chatbot like what else I should get instead."
Oh my God! How do you not look at the website?
That's where this came from.
How do you not look at the website and look at what's
2 extra steps?
Oh my God!
Take 2 extra steps. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. AI told me that they had this and this is what I need to buy because AI looked at my face. I put my face in the AI and it told me what makeup I need to buy. And these are the makeup that are going to make me look better. I got to have these. If I don't have these.
I didn't know that was a thing.
So that's what I was asking you. Oh, girl.
Oh, okay.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That was
it. That was my question.
Okay.
It's something.
All right. On the same vein of technology, what's your screen time looking like on your phone?
Well, it depends. I think
look at your phone right now. And what's your screen time?
Okay. That's what I was going to say is like, it kind of depends because my screen time, I'm reading a lot of Audible on it right now. So I don't feel like that's like fair. My daily average of screen time is 3 hours and 57 minutes.
Okay.
What's yours? Better.
Mine is average 5 hours and 28 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Or this
guys, comment below. What is your average screen time right now? Right now. Like put it in there. I want to know.
I need to know. And it is because I use my phone app for my Kindle. So I know that's a big portion of
it. Judging you.
I am validating my excessive use of screen time. So yeah. And it's mostly okay. Well, more you know.
The more you know. I like that question. We haven't done a question like that. That was like a more interesting question. Okay. All right. That's nice.
All right. Well, okay. Before we wrap up, I believe we need to talk about some books from Zando. So, Danny, why don't you tell us what books
we do? Yeah. So Zando, a little while ago, they sent us some really lovely books, and we have to talk about these. Okay. So, look at these sprayed edges. These are blue sprayed edges with some wings on the side. They're beautiful, and the book is A Vow in Vengeance. It's beautiful. It's really pretty. I love it. Yeah. Look. Has all these 4 different themes going on by Jacqueline Rodriguez. And I want to open it up. Oh my gosh. It's signed. They sent us signed copies. Wonderful. So this has really good ratings. I've been dying to read it. So this is a site. Thank you, Zando, for sending us A Vow in Vengeance. Really excited. And they sent us one more. We also have this one. Another one with beautiful sprayed edges. It's got some fall foliage and some wrought iron here, gate looking thing, and some snakes going down the side. And some snakes on the cover. It's called Heir of Illusion by Madeline Taylor. She is not the pet they tamed. She is the beast they let inside.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So this is book 1, and I think Vow of Vengeance is also, book 1. So thank you, Zando, for sending this. The first one, Vow of Vengeance, is called the Immortal Desires series. Claim your tarot, choose your fate. I kind of love that. We haven't done like a tarot one. That sounds so fun. So I really want to read that. So again, that's A Vow of Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez. And then the other book they sent us was Heir of Illusion by Madeline Taylor. A Varen Isles novel, and it's slow burn, Zando, and they're beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much, Zando. You sent us 2 copies of each book, and we love them. You got Bookish
I love
mail
when we get
too,
2 copies too.
I know.
I love when we get 2 copies.
Yeah, because they send us 1 all the time. So folks who are listening, if you're going to send us books, like, please, we live kind of close to each other, and like we can share, but it makes a lot more sense for us each to have a book trophy. So if you don't mind, while we're ever grateful for every single book we ever receive, it would be very nice if each of us had a copy. So that would be wonderful. But if not, we totally get it. So thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
So I have bookish mail from Painting for Real kits. So this is from Allison and Melissa. And these are kits. So they come in this neat little case. They said it's for a fun mom's night, and it's romantasy themed. So you open the kit up, and there's this one's green dragon. So you have a dragon to paint. So these ones are romantasy themed, and we have 2 kits. So thank you for sending us 2, so we can both do one on ourselves.
I'm excited.
Yes. So again, thank you, Allison and Melissa from Painting for Real. We'll show you how our dragons look, so they can be next to our little book trophies.
Yes, that's awesome. I can't wait. We'll definitely do those. That sounds super fun. We love bookish mail. If you go to our website, bookclubafterdark.co, if you want to send us anything, we will be happy to talk about it on the show. Again, that took us a while. We've had these for a little bit, and I'm so sorry that it took us a hot minute to talk about them, but we're really excited about them either way. And we appreciate that you guys sent them to us. We're forever grateful for anyone who takes the time to send us bookish mail. So thank you so much.
Agreed. So before we wrap up, let's talk about what's coming up next on Book Club After Dark.
Yes, we're going to do a break in our ACOTAR coverage to give you guys a thriller. This one was a very popular thriller at the beginning of the year. It's still climbing the charts. It's got up there. New York Times bestselling author Alice Feeney. It's My Husband's Wife. So I'm super excited to talk about that novel with you. We're have a great time with that one. That's an interesting one.
Good.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Lots of twists and turns.
Twists are twisting.
Yes.
So don't forget, we want to hear from you. If you have thoughts on A Court of Mist and Fury or suggestions for future reads, drop a comment below or message us on one of our social media platforms at Book Club After Dark Pod. Show us your fan art theories or anything bookish you'd like to share.
And again, you can visit our website, bookclubafterdark.co, stay up to date on our cozy content, and check out our merch.
That's all for tonight. Sleep tight, night owls. Until next time, happy reading.